If you've ever felt stuck, whether in a job, a relationship, or a city, there is a reason for that feeling. It's life trying to push you in a different direction. But too often we ignore the signs. We hold on because we're scared of the unknown. But let me tell you something. Staying in the wrong place will cost you more than taking the risks to move on. This is Hasnae Taleb. If you've watched my previous videos, you would know that my journey wasn't handed to me on a silver platter. I was born in Morocco into a modest family, and I had to fight for every opportunity, from being rejected so many times to working on Wall Street at some of the top firms in the world like Morgan Stanley and Nasdaq, to building my own investment firm in Dubai. And my success didn't come from luck. It came from literally knowing when it was the time to let go and move on. Today, I want to talk to you about the 5 signs that tell you it's time to walk away and make a move. And if you resonate with any of these today, consider this your wake-up call. First is when you're no longer growing. Imagine putting a shark in a fish bowl. No matter how much potential it has, it will never grow to its full size. That's what happens when you stay in an environment that no longer challenges you. I need you to picture this. You're in a job, a relationship, or an environment that once felt exciting. It challenged you, pushed you, but now it's just there. You're comfortable, but you're not growing. I experienced this firsthand, and after my graduation, I went back to Morocco to test the waters and see if I could find my dream job and stay with my family. And at that time, I was already working on my own trading portfolio. I just needed the professional experience, and I knew what I was capable of. I was capable of more, but every room I walked into made me feel like I was asking for too much. I was told I was inexperienced, I was too young, I was too ambitious. The moment I moved back to the US, everything changed. Instead of telling me I was too ambitious, people told me, prove it, and I did. When I was working on Wall Street, I had everything, a prestigious job, financial security, and recognition, but something inside of me felt stuck. I wanted to do more than just trading behind the desk. I wanted to create something big. I wanted to create an impact, and I wanted my voice to be heard. I wanted to build businesses. I simply wanted to do more. And I knew that if I stayed, I would plateau. This was the hardest decision I've ever made because I had already everything I would have stayed for, but I left. I moved to the UAE and I had no connections and nothing figured out. And it just felt like starting from scratch. And I am so grateful today that I took that risk because it led me to opportunities I could have never imagined. So if you feel stagnant, ask yourself, am I learning? Am I evolving? And if the answer is no, it's probably time to shake things up. 2, when the environment is holding you back. Now, let's talk about something that people don't like to admit. Sometimes it's not you, it's the environment you're in. When I was in Morocco, I applied for jobs everywhere, every single day, and all I heard were excuses. You have no experience, you're too young, you're too ambitious, and I started questioning myself. Was that really not good enough? Then I moved back to the US and suddenly it was different. People told me you have potential, now prove it, and I did. I went from rejection to working at Morgan Stanley and Nasdaq. The lesson I learned is if doors keep closing in your face, maybe you're knocking on the wrong doors. The first thing I would do better to understand my environment is to look at the 5 people I spend the most time with. Are they pushing you forward or keeping you stuck? If it's the latter, then it's time to upgrade your environment. 3 is when the thought of staying scares you more than leaving. And I need you to be honest with yourself for a second and ask yourself, are you more afraid of leaving or are you more afraid of waking up in 5 years from now in the exact same place? When I was debating leaving my job in the US, I was terrified. But then I asked myself, what if I stay? What if in 5 years from now, I'm still doing the same thing, feeling the same way? And that thought scared me more than the idea of failing. That's when I knew I had to make a move. I'd advise anybody who's watching this video to take 5 minutes right now, close your eyes and visualize your life in 5 years from now. If nothing changes, does that excite you or does that make you uncomfortable? If it makes you uncomfortable, then you already have your answer you're looking for. So stop making excuses and take an action. 4 is when you're constantly trying to prove your worth. If you have to constantly beg someone, whether it's a boss, a friend, or a partner to see your value, you're absolutely in the wrong place. I learned this the hard way. There was a time in my career when I felt like I had to work twice as hard just to be taken seriously. And no matter how much I delivered, it was never enough. Then I walked into a new space where I didn't have to convince people. I was simply valuable. They already knew. And that's the difference between staying where you're tolerated versus going where you're appreciated. So if you constantly feel undervalued, ask yourself, is this really the best use of my talents? And if not, stop shrinking yourself to fit in because you want. You should find a place that sees your worth. The last one is when life keeps giving you signs, but you ignore them. Have you ever noticed how sometimes everything seems to go wrong? Your jobs become unbearable, your relationship feels like constant struggle, and your business is draining you, and yet you stay. But let me tell you something I wish someone told me earlier. When something isn't meant for you, life will keep making it harder. I had a business partner who took advantage of my trust and left me with a financial loss. At first, I tried to fix things. I held on thinking I could turn it around, but life kept showing me signs. This wasn't the right path. The moment I let go, something better came along. If something keeps falling apart, maybe it's not meant to be fixed. Maybe it's meant to be left behind. So pay attention to patterns. If you keep facing roadblocks in the same area in your life, ask yourself, is this a challenge I need to push through, or is it life redirecting me to something better? If you take nothing else from this video, remember this: you're not a tree. You're not meant to stay rooted in a place that kills your potential. In life, I learned that moving on isn't giving up. It's actually having the courage to say, this no longer serves me and I deserve better. So tell me in the comments, what's something in your life you know you need to move on from? And let's talk about it. If this video resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to support my channel, and I'll see you in the next Sunday.